Hey, I'm Jason Heiner, and we're here at CES 2024. I've got my ZDNET partners with me, Carrie Wan, Sabrina Ortiz, and we're going to talk about the best of CES 2024. There was a lot to see. We saw a ton this week, and we're going to boil it down to our picks for the top things of the show. Carrie, you want to start?
Yeah, my pleasure. My first pick is going to be the Lenovo ThinkBook Plus Gen 5 Hybrid, and it is basically a two-in-one device. We've seen two-in-one devices before, but this one in particular is half Windows laptop, and when you detach the display, you get an Android tablet, 14-inch OLED. It's got all the premium flagship features, Intel Core Ultra 7 processor, up to 32 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage. And what makes this one in particular really cool is that because there's the dual operating system there, you can basically use two devices in one. So the cool thing is that if you detach your screen, you can actually connect the keyboard portion of the two-in-one onto an external monitor and use that as a Windows computer while using the Android tablet on the other end. So it's basically a two-in-one. Now, because of that, you do have to pay a little bit more. It's $2,000 starting price for the device, launching Q2 2024. And yeah, I think it's one of the more exciting two-in-one devices that was released in CES.
Nice. I'm going to take your mic. So, Sabrina, what's your top pick? Good top pick. What do you got?
Yeah, thank you for that. So my top pick is Time Kettle's X1 Interpreter Hub. And what it is, it's a device. It fits in the palm of your hand. It has a screen, it has earbuds, and what it does is it translates audio for you in real time. We got to demo it at CES Showstoppers. We were able to have a full conversation in Chinese to Spanish. And even though the room was loud, it picked it up immediately. It had no problem providing an accurate translation either. And we were able to see the transcription on the screen, which was really cool. The device is already out. It's $699.99, and you could order it online already. And it covers over 40 languages. It's perfect for meetings and classrooms because you could do up to 20 people at the same time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually got a bit more footage of the translator today, which is like day 3, day 4, I've lost count, of CES, and that demo floor was even more crowded than Showstoppers. They did the same sort of demo with me. They translated Chinese to English, and it worked really well. I think the thing, like Sabrina said, that impresses the most is that sort of a low delay between when you are actually speaking and when it translates for you. And there's one more cool aspect to that, and it's when you actually open the actual translator gadget, there are 2 earbuds there. So in the case that you are in a crowded room, you're at an airport or something, you can put on the earbud and you can actually hear the translations a lot more clear.
That's awesome. This translation tech is big, and AI, sort of the big move in AI, is having a huge, huge impact. All right, my top pick of the show, number one pick, is the Samsung S95D OLED TV. Last year's model, the S95C, that model was already one of the best TVs in the world. OLED TVs have the best picture quality. It's the top technology for best picture quality. And this along with the LG G3 and one of the Sony TVs was the consensus sort of best TV in the world last year. You could kind of pick between any of the three, you'd be fine. This one, the S95D this year, has one big thing. Carrie and I got a really good look at it as well in a briefing that we were in where Samsung showed off its new TVs. And it has an anti-reflective glare-free screen. So the one bad thing about OLED TVs, or not bad thing, but the challenge they have is they aren't as bright and they have very shiny reflective screens. So if you're in a room with a lot of light, it's almost like a mirror. And things like the window or a lamp or something, it's gonna reflect on that, and it can either be distracting or it can obscure part of the screen. Well, this one has an amazing anti-glare screen display that really, when Carrie put we put your flashlight on your camera up to the last year's model, and it's just like a big white dot. And then we put it up to the new one with the anti-reflective screen, and it completely like dispersed all of the light, and the picture itself overpowered it. And so you could really see perfectly clear. This is the one big challenge for OLED TVs. So there were a lot of amazing TVs. I'm going to talk about another one in a minute at CES this year. this one by far was the best. It's a very simple thing, but for like using a product every day, you would love looking at this screen every day. Now, the pricing wasn't released, but based on the past price for this product, it's going to start at about $2,500 when they do release the pricing in the spring. It's a high premium TV. That's $2,500 for the 55-inch, and it goes up from there. But still, it's really impressive. Best picture quality I've ever seen on a TV, and for that reason, it's definitely my top pick. I think it's the best TV of the year.
Yeah, I would also just add that that model in particular is only available in 55, 65, and 75-inch sizes. So the one thing that I do wish for that S95D model is if it had a larger size, 85, 95, 115, 150, I would totally buy that, and I'd be broke.
Very good. All right, actually, hang on. Actually, let's go to you for your number 2 pick.
Okay, totally. So my number 2 pick is this Mini Tails dog collar, and it did win a CES award before you turn away because you hear pet, but it's really cool. It's an attachment for your dog's collar, and the same way that, I wear a Fitbit or you might wear whatever fitness gadget you choose to have to track your biometrics, you could do the same with your pet. And on top of that, what I thought was really interesting, it could predict some of ill disorders in your pet. For example, it could detect early detection of heart failure, and what else do you want for your pet to live a long, healthy life. It can also detect their activity, so you can know how long they're sleeping or what they're doing. If they're running, jogging, you get alerts. And overall, it just seems like a really interesting way. It is AI supported, and that's how it's able to detect the different activity zones and the different things the dog is doing simply by being on the collar. So overall, I do think it's a really fun and innovative way to incorporate AI in a way we haven't seen before, and including our furry loved ones. So
every time I take my pets to the vet, I think the only thing I worry about this is I'm going to have more trips to the vet, and every time I take my pets to the vet, it's $500. So I'm worried about more $500 trips. But everybody wants their pet to be safe and healthy.
That's true. And compared to the vet cost and honestly the food cost, if you're like me, I get my dog like the best food I can find. This piece of hardware is actually not that expensive. It's $100. It is available for purchase. It does come with a fee that you have to pay every month for the actual app, which is $25 a month, where you can pay $275 a year. But overall, for hardware for a fitness gadget, that's around on the lower end a cost of like a human, fitness tracker.
Yeah.
So, and for being one of the first major ones we've seen for pets, I feel like that's a pretty reasonably priced.
Nice. All right. Excellent pick. Carrie, pick number 2.
I don't know how I topped the pet tracker, but my second pick is going to go to a product in a category that we actually don't cover too much, but it is one that I think is up and coming, and you're probably going to hear more about it. It's the MSI Claw, which is a mobile gaming console, sort of. It's also a hybrid Windows PC, and it's similar to the Steam Deck. It's similar to the Asus ROG Ally. It's similar to the Lenovo Legion Go, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, but there are really 2 things going for this product in particular compared to its competitors. For one, it's the ergonomics. I think the way that MSI designed it, it's lightweight, the grip is a lot better as well, and if you're planning on bringing this onto a plane, if you're using it at home even casually, I think that is number 1 in terms of priority and something that you'd want in a gaming handheld. The second thing is that they waited a bit longer to release this, more so because they have it bundled with the Intel Core Ultra processor, and that's compared to the AMD processors that come with its competitors. In terms of the difference in graphical performance and processing, none of that is official yet. We still have to test the devices to know for sure, but it's a good start for a product that is a first for MSI. And it's also got a bunch of vents behind it, which helps immensely when you're gaming and the handheld gets a bit warmer.
How's the form factor? Because I remember you were on a plane and you were like, somebody had this like gigantic Nintendo Switch. We were trying to figure out what it was. Is this thing huge, bigger, same as the Nintendo Switch size?
Yeah, it's definitely around the same size as a Nintendo Switch, but it's smaller than a Steam Deck.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those devices where when you're using it, I don't think people will be staring at you as much, for better or worse. Maybe some people prefer that. But yeah, I mean, it's looking like a very promising device. It starts at $699 for the 512 gigabyte variant. So the only drawback that I could see with the MSI Claw is the fact that the display is an LCD panel. With gaming handhelds in particular, we're seeing this sort of trend to OLED. So you see Steam Deck OLED, you see Nintendo Switch OLED, and yeah, I'd say if anything, if there is a second version of this product, an OLED panel would make it even better. Nice.
Speaking of panels, I'm going to go to my number 2 pick, which is the 115-inch QM89 from TCL. So not to be confused with the TCL QM8, which is an excellent TV. It's one of our best reviewed TVs last year. There's a new version this year. It's going to be another one of our favorite TVs this year, I'm pretty sure. Excellent price for the money. You can get that very high-end TV for $1,000 to $2,000 for a high-end TV, which is amazing. This is also an outstanding TV, 115 inches. The reason that this one is interesting, it's a very expensive product. Not many people are going to be able to afford to buy it, but it will be 115 inch. It's a QD mini LED TV. So it is one of the more, the up and coming advanced technologies, but it is competing really not with other TVs, but with projectors. And there's been this real move with projectors now, get a 100-inch, 120-inch. Samsung had a 150-inch 8K projector that they offered at the show. And those projectors are awesome for especially like putting in your basement or a loft, or if you're going up to the 20th floor of your building and you're not going to take one of these gigantic TVs. But that projector, you can get there, even if you're putting like a nice screen, like an ALR screen up on your wall to help make it better. But you're still going to lose some dynamic range. It's not going to be as bright. It's not going to have that really poppy color to it. It's going to be good, and they're getting better and better. But this gives you an option where now you're seeing these LED TVs, these QLEDs, and eventually OLEDs that are going to be this size, and you get all the benefits of that great color, saturation, dynamic range, the brightness. And so this is a TV that's going to be over $10,000, I'm sure. They haven't said what the price is going to be yet, but it gives us a little bit of a glimpse of the future. This thing also has 5,000 nits of brightness if you're into the specs, and 20,000 dimming zones. Now, Hisense has a product that's even higher than that, 110-inch TV. But this TCL, I felt like the colors and the picture quality was just really dialed in on this one, and you'll be able to buy it in Best Buy and get delivered to your home, because you're not going to put that 115-inch in the back of your car or even your truck.
And prior to this release, it was very difficult to get an actual TV that size. So while it sounds so extravagant and so very much a CES product, I'm sure there is an audience for that have been waiting for a product that they can just go into a Best Buy and pick up. And yeah, 115-inch TV from TCL.
Excellent. All right, now we're going to do a little bit of a lightning round, lightning and thunder round. So we are going to talk about the most innovative product that we saw at CES. Maybe not a product you're going to buy. You might put the TCL 115-inch in that, but maybe not a product you're going to buy, but that you really think is going to have an impact on the future. And so I'll start this time and talk about the Sony XR headset. This was the biggest surprise of CES, and I think in one sense probably the most impactful product in the show, because this is a product they paired up with Siemens, and this is a headset that's going to let people both create content, so the future of content, three-dimensional immersive content, those kinds of things, but it's also going to help product teams building products like the ones at this show, like vehicles, cars, trains, factories, buildings, all kinds of things. Because what it does is in a virtual environment, you can have what they call digital twins, and you have a virtual version of a product, and then across time zones, across geographies, people on a product team can collaborate on that, and that's going to speed up the the process of developing products. So people don't have to fly as often. They don't have to be mailing prototypes all over the world. So this will have a big impact. And then just the headset itself, it is an 8K headset. It has a flip-up visor, I wish every VR headset had. It also has these really cool wearable controllers. One is like a ring, and the other one is a pointer that slips over your finger. I demoed it. I was one of the few people that got a demo. They only gave a handful of demos here. And it is the highest resolution, like highest fidelity headset that I've ever put on, next to sort of in the same league with two others, which is Apple Vision Pro and then the Vario XR4. So very important product. I'm obviously not going to buy one, but I think it will have a huge impact on the world, on product development, on lots of different things.
Yeah, and I mean, even in terms of the VR landscape or MR, AR, this is the first headset to be shipped with the new Snapdragon XR2 Plus Gen 2 processor,
Yes.
Which is literally geared to compete against Apple Vision Pro. So to be able to see how this headset handles the performance, whether it's in enterprise, whether it's in a consumer's hands, I think that's going to be the most interesting thing.
Me too. All right, Sabrina.
Thank you. Well, my pick is, I wrote this in the article too, but there's not a lot of things at CES when you're in, especially one of those bigger events where it's small table, small table, small table, that'll make you like stop dead in your tracks. And HoloConnect's HoloBox is that device. You walk past and you see a hologram, so you kind of just have to stop. And what the device actually is, it looks like a phone booth, and it casts a hologram of the person who is standing in front of a white background that's well lit, and then you are talking to the person via the hologram, essentially the same way you would in a regular video call, like a Zoom call, and they could see you via the camera that's on top of the phone booth, as if you were on a regular Zoom call. And it's really cool how you could just have a regular conversation. There's really no latency. And what really called my attention was that I feel like this is a great product for like brand activation. You wouldn't necessarily like have, or at least I wouldn't have, a whole phone booth hologram in my living room. But I feel like if I walked into a mall and I saw, I don't know, my favorite influencer talking to me via this hologram, I would definitely stop and chat. Or even brands that if you just want to show your logo or your mascot. And actually, Carrie and I had the opportunity to go to like a Google Media event this week where we saw just these cute little Android characters bouncing around this display. And at the time, I didn't realize it was HoloConnects behind it until I was on their Instagram. And I was like, whoa, this is the same technology that we got to demo the day before. So it really is really neat. And you can already see that some companies are embracing that. And I could see a lot more companies doing that as brand activations and just to get attention, because it makes you stop dead in your tracks. So
yeah, I was definitely stopped dead in my tracks on this one, and I'm here for like Zoom calls with holograms in the future. And it's funny thing is when I went to Digital Experience where we saw the evening event, I wasn't there for like 2 minutes, and the first person I talked to said, "Did you see the hologram thing?" And then that led me over, and then I pinged you, and I was like, "Sabrina, could you go take a look at the hologram thing and film some video of that thing?" So it like definitely has that like buzzy. It was the buzziest thing of CES.
I came back after we saw it because it was one of those things where like, let me like learn more, see it again, and let me tell you, being the hologram is almost as cool as talking to the hologram, and it's really simple to do, even though it sounds so extravagant. You just sit down in a chair with like a light like this one, except that your background's a white background. And then I got to see the video of me as the hologram. I'm like, wow, that really does look like me. It looks like I'm sitting somewhere else. So it really is really neat. And it's just a plug in. It just needs to be plugged in an internet to work. So again, I think it'll be great for, companies and who want to, catch a little attention. So.
All right, very good. Carrie, wrap us up. Your top pick for most innovative product that's going to change the future.
Oh man, that's a lot of pressure. Anyway, speaking of hologram boxes, my pick is the Rabbit R1, which is a very small, small AI gadget. It's not intended to actually replace your smartphone, but it does behave similarly. So it is basically an AI voice assistant built into a small gadget that was designed by Teenage Engineering. renowned, based in UK. They make a lot of really weird, quirky gadgets that just happen to be very well made. I feel like with Rabbit R1, the best way to present it is if you ask your phone right now to book you an Uber, whether it's an iPhone, whether it's an Android device, it will likely bring you a search result of the app or the platform and say, hey, I can't book you an Uber, but this is the best result that I got. With the Rabbit R1, instead of just giving you a text-based or voice-based result, it literally does the action for you. They call it the large action model. So it's trained on human interfaces. So the way that we will book an Uber, the way that we will make an appointment on Airbnb and rent out a house, it basically learns from that and is able to repeat it when we ask it to do it. So yeah, it's sort of like the future of AI voice assistants, I'd like to think. It's basically what we wish our phones could do, but somehow this startup based in Santa Monica with 17 people is able to do it and actually ship a product starting in March, actually, but they have open pre-orders. The product costs $200. It's not as expensive as I was expecting an AI or the first AI sort of gadget device at CES to be. But yeah, I think based on all the things that they've presented, based on the price, the look, the partnership with Teenage Engineering, it's not surprising that they already sold out based on round one of their pre-orders, 10,000 units, I believe. So really impressive.
That's a wrap on CES 2024. Carrie Wan, Sabrina Ortiz. I'm Jason Heiner. Go to ZDNET.com to find all the information on the products that we talked about today, as well as roundups of the best products in various categories, TVs, laptops, AI, all of the most important stuff, and a lot more. Thanks for tuning in, and you can also find us on all of the socials as well. We have videos of a lot of products we talked about and many more as well on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Thank you, and we'll see you next year.